Hello, my name is Thando Mathe. I'm going to be talking about the use of open cloud platforms as accessible tools which policymakers in developing nations can use to make informed decisions. I'm going to use an example down here in Zimbabwe where we'll be measuring the turbidity in Lake Kariba. So Kariba is on the northern part of Zimbabwe. It is a crucial tourism hub with visitors attracted by the largest man-made lake in Africa. The lake is a crucial source of economic and social activity for both Zimbabwe and for Zambia. And in most cases, there are multiple stakeholders which are involved in the management of this large water resource. But for the most part, they lack the financial, technical, and human resources in order to use space-based data for evidence-based decision making. So in Zimbabwe, the problem that we face the most is the lack of financing and sufficient technical infrastructure for data processing. I'm going to be demonstrating how Digital Earth Africa, a platform which provides open access to several magnificent tools that you can use for this data. It only goes to show how easy it has become to access this data and how even low resource setup policy organizations can use this data for their own decision making. So we start off by measuring water extent by loading the water observation from space suite of tools. It uses Landsat 8 and Landsat 9. So we do this so that we separate water pixels that relate to water from those that relate to land, because when we're measuring turbidity, we want to make sure that we are measuring it on water bodies only. So turbidity, we measure it using the NDTI, which is an index that we find by, in terms of bands, the difference between the red and the green band as a ratio of their total. So lower turbidity means the water is clearer, and higher turbidity means the water is a bit dirty. So you will find that on the edges of the lake, which is closer to the land, you find more turbid water, which is quite expected. For the sake of argument, we're going to assume that it is because of the depth of the water. It's shallower. So Digital Earth Africa also provides an easy way to create animations so that it's easy to tell the story visually to non-technical policymakers. So we can now look at this initial assumption that we made earlier. When we look at the graph on the bottom, you can see that both small and large water bodies are exhibiting the same characteristics when it comes to turbidity. Therefore, we can expound that assumption that we had made earlier. And then when you look at the graph on the top, which we easily generated as well in Digital Earth Africa, you can see that the seasons with higher rainfall are also coinciding with seasons with higher turbidity. Therefore, upon further investigation, we can conclude that the two are related. This information is useful, particularly in the data-driven age, where in modern society it has become practically pointless for you not to use data for your decision-making processes. In Zimbabwe here, specifically with Kariba, it affects the fishing industry, the tourism industry, and the public health industry, both of which are related to the health compared to the quality of water for both people and animals, which also in turn affects economic decisions that will be made on in tourism, for example, electricity generation, for example, and as well as decisions to do with fishing activity, the type of equipment used, the type of chemicals used perhaps, and all those are decisions that can be made based on the data that we have acquired here. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I look forward to